All right, folks, welcome back to Mike and Maurice's Mind Escape. We have episode number 31 today. We're gonna be
Escape that mind.
we're gonna be talking about the Mothman and who is he? What is he? Is he even real?
And is
So
he
let's.
coming?
He has all over the place.
We could
Um,
find that theme song we wrote, man.
oh yeah,
Let's
I forgot. Yeah, so yeah, let's talk about that first. Back in the day, you and I got pretty freaked out by this thing. We went to the see the Mothman Prophecy movie at Beacon East, and
Richard here.
yeah, we both got pretty creeped out by that. I mean, I don't really ever get scared from movies, but something about that, is based on real events, and
That's what
just then.
kind of gets me, man, the real event stuff. Because when I saw Blair Witch, I thought it was real. I was one of the, I saw it real early on, and I still thought it was real and shit. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Very
what?
creepy.
Yeah, see, stuff like that didn't even that movie didn't really do anything to me. Like there wasn't anything about that one, that made me feel way like a Mothman did. I don't know, I think there is something, whether it's really true or not, or they're taking like inspired true events and
I was
then
gonna say
take.
it's based on true events.
Right.
Who knows?
Well, the Blair Witch is obviously completely fake, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
the
But at the
Mothman
time,
Prophecy
people
is
thought it was
different.
real.
Yeah, the Mothman Prophecies. What happened is this guy wrote this book, John Keel, the Mothman Prophecies. He was big into like UFOs and stuff, but later on he started to get into just like weird paranormal type stuff and trying to find explanations that weren't maybe related to aliens and UFOs and that kind of stuff. Um, but the whole premise of the Mothman is this thing. It's like a big 6 foot, 7 foot winged black creature. Here, I'll pull it up. I got a picture
Nice.
ready.
I was gonna ask you real quick, was that movie based on a book that guy wrote, or is it just based on like a bunch of shit and someone wrote a screenplay based on a
Okay.
character?
So what happens is I did a lot of research the last couple of days, knowing that we were going to talk about this.
Hmm.
Um, and what I found was that there you go. There's
That's a
what kind of
that's a
people.
ghoul.
Yeah, it's kind of what people see when they see them. But the thing is when I started doing research and knowing that, what I would know from watching the movie, it seems like what they did with the movie is just piece together different people's events into like one story. So like all the
Right.
different sightings, all the different things that happen, the weird, uh, synchronicities and different things, they all tailored that into one story as opposed to being a bunch of different people's accounts and different stories over, a few months. They made it seem like it
Right.
happened quickly within, so um but yeah, so when people see this thing, it's supposedly, got these huge wings, almost like a it's like a dark angel, or if you want to think of it like that, something like that. But 6 feet, 7 feet tall. Now I've seen things, different documentaries, short documentaries and movies on YouTube and different platforms where they'll try and debunk it by say, "Oh, it was this. Oh, it was that." Like one of the theories was it was one of these sandhill cranes, which is like a massive bird that's local to the area. Um, and the
Well,
sandhill
well,
crane.
hold on a second, because what that movie's based on is the prediction of a bridge collapsing,
Right, right.
and that actually was some crazy shit that actually
Well, yeah, but
someone predicted
before
that.
we get into that, I want to talk about all the things that it could have been that wasn't,
Right. Okay.
mystical or
Okay.
paranormal. So this is the sandhill crane, or like a large bird is what everybody thought, could be. And then the other thing that the people thought it could be was a barred owl. But a barred owl, both the sandhill crane is only 3 feet tall, and the barred owl I think is only 3 feet tall. And then I saw there's another movie where this guy was talking about, well, it could be this eagle that they think's gone extinct, or maybe was mislabeled at some point, which was called the Washington's eagle. Washington's eagle supposedly, I mean, the females, this guy said, could get up to like 4 or 5 feet tall standing up and have like a 13 to 16 foot wingspan, which, I mean, that's fucking huge. If you saw that, that
Yeah.
might do something to you.
Well,
Um,
the sightings don't really fucking excite me because, people see Bigfoot all the time. What's more interesting about this is the predictions of things. Bigfoot isn't predicting
right.
bridge collapsing and,
Okay, so
shit like that.
let's
So
go into that. So the first sighting was in 1966. It was a bunch of grave diggers or grave workers in a cemetery working, and they looked up and they saw um this like guy like figure that was in like a black and gray or black and brown suit. And then they looked back and the thing was just gone. So
is this all
um
in the same location, or is it all kind
yeah,
of?
yeah, this is all within like the geography of the Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which is where all this happened. Point Pleasant, West
Okay.
Virginia is, I mean, that's their thing. You know, they have a festival every year. I think it started in 2002. Um, you know, where it's kind of like, you know, these alien festivals that you see in Mexico and that kind of stuff, like something similar to that. But okay, so back to the sighting. So 1966 was the first sighting, and then like a month or two later, somebody else saw it, and then it started to pick up. Now the thing is some of these people that were seeing this had no knowledge of the other people's sightings, meaning that what they were describing was similar or the same, but they had no knowledge of the other people reporting it. There was
Okay.
a group. There was a group of people that saw it too. I think they were driving in a car, and they saw what looked to be like red, like reflectors on like a bicycle or whatever. But then they started getting closer, and they realized this thing was like an actual entity, and it was like flying around them and doing all sorts of weird shit. And that freaked them the hell out. So they went right to the sheriff's department, and the sheriff he knew those people, and he found what they were saying to be credible because they had never lied before. They were like upstanding citizens or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, so that was one of them. And then there was another one where a lady was leaving her friend's house near where a lot of these sightings were happening, and she saw, you know, 6 foot tall winged dark beast with glowing red eyes, like in this figure that's like 6 to 7, 8 feet tall, roughly, with large wings, and it's black. It's kind of a humanoid figure, but it's got wings. That's what I'm saying, like dark angel or like a fallen angel or something. You know, maybe something like that is if you could picture something like that. That's what people see. But then, so this other lady that was leaving her friend's house, she looked into this thing's eyes, and immediately, you know, freaked the fuck out and dove on her child and like laid there for 10 or 15 minutes or however long she, you know, she said she didn't want to get up, she didn't know what was going on, but then obviously it was fine. But I don't even know if this is a real image, to be honest with you. It may or may not be a real image.
They're never
But
real, bro.
this is
They're
what people
never real.
said that they saw. So either it's a representation of what people were seeing, or it is actually the thing that people were seeing. But either way, it's one of those things where it's like, if enough people see it and weird shit happens, I mean, does that make it real? I don't know. So
Yeah,
this
that's
is
Richard Gere, bro.
but that's actually creepy. I mean, think about it. Like, what if,
Yeah.
you know,
I don't
you
know. With today's shit, man, you can do anything. It's
sure, sure. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Who
is this the
knows?
bridge that he was predicting that was gonna collapse?
That's the Silver Bridge.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, like I said, 46 people died. People and what people associated then with. So these sightings occurred before that. So when you think about it, people started like to wonder, okay, is there any correlation here? So was this thing you know, the angel of death? Was it a demon? Was it something that caused this thing? You know, because the correlation is this thing being seen for a couple weeks or a couple months before, and then all of a sudden this, you know, it's the largest bridge, I think, accident in US history. I mean, if you think about it, 46 people dying in one spot, it's a lot of people.
Yeah,
So
but I mean, come on. This fucking thing comes down to. I mean, I'm not saying that that wasn't a tragedy, but you know, there's other shit that happens that there's no warnings for.
yeah, no,
The
there is though.
Titanic going down and shit. Where's the
But
fucking angel for that?
hold on. There's people that said they saw it like 2 days before 9/11. There's a fake picture on that too, of representation of what somebody saw. There's people that see it in Chicago. There's people that have been seeing it for the last 2 years in Chicago. If you look up Chicago 2017
Yeah, you
sightings,
said a bunch were in
yeah, there's
Chicago.
like 15 people that said they've seen this. Now, how accurate is that? I don't know. But the thing I could correlate it to Chicago, I was thinking, I'm like, what natural disaster, what sort of disasters happened or is on the brink of happening in Chicago? But then I was thinking about, I'm like,
Gun violence.
Yeah, exactly. What if it's not something that happens like an instant where 46 people die? Far more people than 46, like I think there's thousands of people that have been killed in the last couple of years in Chicago from gun
Yeah,
violence. Um,
it's the gun capital of the world, bro.
so that's a potential right there. And Chicago's got a history with evil and weird shit. I mean, if you look at H. Holmes, America's first serial killer, he killed, they think some people think he killed up to thousands of people during the World Fair at the turn of the century. And he also built this thing, it's called the Murder Castle, where it was like a fun house where there was trap doors and different things leading to different places. He would kill people and then they'd slide down chutes and then he'd operate on their bodies. And he used to, sell cadavers to schools because schools back then would, to study a skeleton would be a hard thing to get. So he would sell them to different universities and stuff. So, like there's a history of evil in Chicago. And then if you look at the book that we like, the Urantia Papers, were conceived in Chicago too. So maybe the Chicago's some sort of battleground for good and evil, or maybe there's some sort of paranormal vortex. Who fucking knows?
Yeah, I think
But
you're gonna find a lot of that in any of these big cities. You get a lot of people in one spot, and shit that happens, maybe that's false. Shit that might happen, that's true. I don't know.
right,
You get all these people in one area, something's going to happen.
right.
But
But
yeah,
so I mean, but there's people that said that they've seen the Mothman, and like there's other, things that have happened. I mean, there's people that see UFOs, like, the Fukushima meltdown in Japan. There's people that saw UFOs days before there. The Chernobyl, there's people that saw UFOs there. So it's like, what's going on? I think, and I don't know, but my theory on this is, what do we really know? Like we can only perceive things that we know through science. So like once it's been quantified through science, it's been built into our vernacular, our consciousness, all that. So if I say, oh, the scientist did this experiment and, it's possible for this to happen. Like, what if in the future we find out that it is possible for UFOs and Mothmen and whatever? Like, what if our building blocks just aren't at the level of understanding yet?
well, every time we see these things, we don't do anything about it, and the disaster still happens. So we're fucking up these signals.
Right. I mean, we could still, we're still the monkeys that are looking up in the sky and seeing, where the cargo call,
Right, right.
Um, but at the same time, I think about it too, and it's like, what if we got some building blocks wrong? Like what if we're so steeped in reality that we're not nurturing this other part of us that is connected to something else that would explain it? I mean, look at, we talk about it all the time, but look at what they're doing with all the psychedelic stuff. I truly believe in the
You're
next few,
clogging up that pineal gland. You gotta
yeah,
stop drinking that fucking chlorine, man,
it's fluoride.
or fluoride.
Um, but I truly believe with all the stuff that we're learning about psychedelics and the way consciousness works, I think in the next 10 to 15 years, there'll be some sort of, maybe even if it's a baby step, some sort of breakthrough on consciousness and what's going on. I mean, people that smoke DMT see these machine elves that weave our reality together by taking different, almost like a thought is like an entity. There's people that when they have do ayahuasca, they see themselves outside of their body and can see things.
Mhm.
People think that when people are under sleep paralysis, that's what a UFO abduction is. I the weird thing is the other day, I've never had anything like sleep paralysis, or I meditate and I see weird stuff sometimes like that. I've obviously had in the past when I was younger, done some certain psychedelics and seen some weird shit, but nothing ever really crazy. But the other day I was super tired and I didn't really get a good night's sleep. And I was sitting on my chair doing work at my house on the computer, and I set the computer down. I'm like, man, I'm tired. So I lay back. I take a little bit of a nap, probably like an hour long. When I came to, like, started to wake up again, the second I woke up, I got this weird feeling like I couldn't move. Like I literally was paralyzed. And then this white light like shined over me for like 2 seconds. And I tried to fight it. I could not fight it off. It was something that had complete control over me. So I think, I don't know if that's sleep paralysis or I just had some weird thing happen, whatever, but it was kind of, I almost felt like I was being taken or dying or something. It was really a weird feeling. I've never had it before. Um, so I don't know if that's what people feel when they're under sleep paralysis, but I mean, just think about that alone. Like these are so many things that we just don't understand about, physiology, and we're just a big sack of drugs walking around basically. So who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. I've never had sleep paralysis, but I've had sleep psoriasis. Shit ain't fun, man.
They call him
You wake,
Shaggy. It's
you
just
you wake up with patches all over your fucking body.
uh, you got knighted.
By Sir
Uh,
Anthony Hopkins.
um, but yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I just think that there's
Well,
so
let
many
me ask
things.
you this: do you think that movie turned the fucking Mothman into a good thing or a straight up joke?
Um, no, I mean, I think what they did was, I thought that the director did a good job. I mean, it's a pretty suspenseful movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but
Yeah,
I
it might
mean,
be awful when we
well,
rewatch.
but that's think about that. That's perception and consciousness. Now that we've learned so much more, whether it's through technology and just an understanding of human nature, you go back and look at that. You're looking at the past.
Right, but I
So,
don't know if Gerbil Master Richard Gere is gonna be how his performance is. I mean, is he a good actor? I don't know. Pretty
I don't
Woman's
know.
good.
He shoved the Mothman up his ass too.
He goes, "Is this tickle like a gerbil?"
Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. To be honest with you, I think that
Why don't
uh,
people treat this shit like UFO or Bigfoot? It just doesn't have that much clout, or what's the deal? Because I always thought it was pretty interesting.
I think there's something there. I don't know. I don't know. I'm different though. Like people say Bigfoot, I think Bigfoot's fucking stupid. Obviously, Gigantopithecus once existed.
Yeah,
Is that out of the realm of possibility? No, but maybe it's something that's built. Think about this. I think they've done experiments where they show babies pictures of snakes and babies freak out. They hate snakes. Why is that? Maybe it's been built into our consciousness that in the past babies have been eaten by snakes, which I mean, you look at some of these anacondas and, just getting bitten by a poisonous snake. I mean, you fucking die.
right,
Um,
right.
so maybe there's something built into our consciousness about Bigfoot. Like maybe we remember when there was, or it's built into our,
Giganto.
yeah, maybe it was built into our DNA, like, oh
That's
fuck,
true.
you know. Same thing with aliens. Maybe aliens once did exist, or maybe they still do and just come in and out of time as they please. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I know when people say that shit's dumb, it's not dumb because there's credible people that see this shit. There's credible people that see aliens, whether it's they're in the military or pilots, regular. There's so many instances of regular pilots, commercial pilots, seeing these things too. Um, so I don't think you can just say, oh, that's hoaxy or that's stupid, because I don't think it is, whether it's our own government or something. I mean, that was the other thing too. I saw a little short documentary which they're trying to explain the Mothman. It was saying how that was during the time of MK Ultra. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, it's an awesome strand of bud.
No, but it was the CIA doing these experiments where they would give people LSD and
Oh
different.
yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah.
like
Men
it
that
was like
stare at goats.
yeah, it was like psyops things or psyops things where they were trying to like fuck with people and see if they could use this in some sort of like war application. So
Right,
one of the speculations is maybe they were dosing people in this area and they planted the seed of this thing being there, and by doing that, everybody started to see it. I don't know. That's a hypothetical, but and then the other
right.
thing was there's a TNT, a shutdown TNT plant where they used to produce TNT, and there was, um, you know, hazard waste like leaking out of there into like some sort of water supply.
These
Um,
fucking humans, man, they just wreck the
yeah.
world.
So I mean, look, it could have been something like that too. People could have been hallucinating on some sort of thing, but the weird thing is, like you said initially, like, well, the bridge still collapsed. It's not like
Right, yeah, come on.
if people were just seeing this thing, okay, well, whatever, what is it? It's like it is the same thing as like an alien, because as much as we like to, there is proof based on eyewitness accounts, but there's no like video. There is videos, but there's no like video conclusive proof. Okay, this is real. There's
There never
nothing.
is, man. There never is.
There never might, there might never ever be. So I
But
mean,
why? Why can't we capture a UFO? Why can't we capture a Bigfoot, a
well,
Loch Ness monster, a
think
fucking
about this.
Mothman, dude? These things just aren't there.
I was thinking about this too. our eyeballs aren't just lenses for our brains. Our, the way that we work is so much more complex than I would imagine what a camera does. That, even though maybe a camera can get different pixelations or, alter shit or get it down to some finite thing, we generate illusion with our brain through our eyeballs. So what are we seeing? Like I said, the cargo cult thing. When a ship arrived in Africa for the first time, they didn't know what they were looking at. Hence, they didn't know how to react. Or somebody, I think the good example is the South Pacific when World War II happened, and we like dropping tanks and cargoes and all sorts of shit on these beaches, and these indigenous people are like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
Maybe we're seeing something that we just don't know what it is. It's just so advanced that we just can't put it together.
Yeah, that may be.
Like, for instance, that clip I sent you of Joe Rogan talking with that MMA guy about like science and philosophy and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Well, they're talking about, so like if let's say we're all playing pool and you and I are playing pool, we can measure the angle, the speed, the felt, like taking everything into consideration and get a somewhat good estimation of what's going to happen, right?
Hmm.
So then if you look at like God, or let's say you believe in God and there is a God or a creator or somebody higher than us, they would have all the tools that we don't have, meaning that they would be able to know what's like. I guess a better example would be if people say that time is not linear. Okay, so if time is not linear, then everything has already happened, right? So everything's
I
been
guess. Yes.
determined through somebody else's eyes, okay, like God. So if God knows everything that's going to happen and will happen, which if you read the Bible and read all these books, he's omnipresent, infinite, all that stuff. He knows everything that's going to happen before it happens. So he has the tools to quantify and understand everything. We don't, and I don't think we ever will. And I think that we can talk about this all day long, and I think it's interesting and enlightening for sure, but I don't think we're ever going to get to the root of any of this stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I
You
mean, what
omnipotent bastard.
what do you think personally? What do you think about Do you think the Mothman's real, or do you think it's bullshit?
No, I don't think it's real.
No.
But
What do you?
I don't know. I'm always skeptical on all this shit.
Yeah, I mean
What do you
that
mean?
that well, that goes into like how we're built. Like we're built into reality. Like, we're all kind of reductionists now. Like we're all living in this world where if we can't quantify it through touch, taste, sound, sight, all that stuff,
Right, but I've
um,
never seen. If I saw a ghost, I might believe more in ghosts, and we know people that have
but
that are
what
super
what I'm
smart
saying is,
people that.
how do we know that ghosts, Mothman, aliens? How do we know that this isn't the same thing? Maybe it's just using different
Right.
masks. Like
Yeah, it could be.
maybe it's the same force, energy, entity, whatever, and it's just putting on a costume or a mask. Like maybe the whole point is to either scare us or not scare us. I don't know.
Right, right. I just think there's been more of tragedy, like World War II and all that shit. You would think that the Mothman would have been flying around.
Well, there's people that see weird shit. There's people, during World War II that saw foof. Like, that's what I'm saying is you keep saying Mothman, you keep correlating them to natural disasters. But what about all the UFOs that have been seen at the natural disasters? Who's not to say that that's not the Mothman ship or home base, or maybe that's a different form that he takes? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm just saying, like, Fukushima, Chernobyl, like there is some sort of weird shit that has happened around those that people have seen. Other things, there's been instances in the past where they say they've tried to, set off nuclear, weapons, and then they've been dismantled or somehow stalled by something.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
look,
there might be some mysterious force out there. I'm definitely game to believe to question it. I just say, but personally, I don't know if I believe in a Mothman. But again, if you're saying it's all kind of wrapped up into all these supernatural forces, then I can get on board with that.
well, our ego pushes us in this corner where, oh, like I said, we're reductionists that just think that we know everything based on what we know right now. But 200 years ago, we were using fucking horse and buggy.
Right.
So
Yeah.
look at where we are now.
I don't like, but the bottom line is I don't necessarily believe in aliens or ghosts or any of that, but I do know, or I've heard stories from reputable people that, you know, they wouldn't be lying to me. So that kind of stuff makes me think twice. I haven't really had an experience myself, but I'm open to the experiences others have and listening and contemplating that with them.
Maybe it's something like I said that's built into our DNA or imagination. You know, like maybe it's just something that
Right, you know,
is
you
inherent.
wanna see Bigfoot so fucking bad, you see a little hairy beast out there, you're gonna think it's him no matter what, you know? It's kinda like when you're
Right,
a kid, you go outside looking for ghosts, you see a little weird thing happen in a window, and that therefore now I saw a ghost. And then over years, you've been telling yourself that. By the time you're 25, 30, you really did see that ghost, you know?
right.
So who
I mean,
knows? The human brain is all fucked up.
well, I mean, there's that. There's drugs. We have drugs in our body. We don't know for sure if
Right.
we produce DMT in our brain, but we know livers and lungs produce it, and in rats, it's produced in rats' brains. So I mean, like, I don't know. I just think that there's so many different variables for different things for people to say, "Oh, that's dumb," or "Oh," and then not really look into it is just stupid because it's like, why not look at why not question things? Like, what do you have to lose? Like, we're the thing that I get concerned about is like, what if we're just heading down this? Like, what if we got a couple building blocks wrong? Like, instead of building up, think about a pyramid and just constantly building up, we started to build sideways or this way or that way or diagonal. What if we're not doing what we could be doing because we're just so ingrained in what's in front of our fucking faces and just not thinking critically about stuff, if that makes
Right. Well,
sense.
I think there always is a building of out to the sides, and it's just, over time, the fucking building up has prevailed, I think, for the
Oh,
most part,
I
but
agree, but what I'm saying is, what if it's a slower process because of that?
well, I don't know, bro. Talk to Kim Kardashian, man,
What I'm
because
saying, what
she's meeting with the fucking government, and then she's taking pictures of her naked
get your
ass.
tape
So
measure out. You're gonna measure ass in the next
I'm
episode.
not
Um,
saying I wouldn't, but
okay, but say I don't know. Like I know you don't know. I know you say you believe in God, but then sometimes you like question things. Well, what if if you believe in God? Well, there must be some sort of opposite force, right? What if this thing that the Mothman thing is like an angel of death, or what if that is death, or you know, um, like people that are dying on their deathbed know they're going to die sometimes, like a week in advance, couple days in advance, whatever. Like these people have some sort of feeling. Like what if there is an entity a presence that you can feel towards the end that, you know, um, and maybe the Mothman isn't even evil. Maybe it was just like you said, like, hey, I'm here. Shit's gonna go down. Maybe
hey,
I'm Moth.
ah, that,
I'm the Mothman. Where's
and
Richard Gere's butthole?
I'm coming in Richard.
Uh,
Oh man,
well,
but
I mean, do you have any other thoughts or questions on it? I mean, I think we covered here. I'll pull up the picture. They have a huge statue downtown Point Pleasant that's dedicated to this thing. Let me pull
yeah,
it.
and at this point, it's like, come on, now what's going on? Are these guys fucking making money off this thing?
Yeah,
Or
they
they're
are.
gonna put
Their town was in
no
shambles.
shit, they are.
Their town was in shambles, I
Where
think,
was the
until
Mothman before that, man?
right, right. No, I agree.
He warned the town that they were gonna go broke.
So that's the statue.
That doesn't look like the shit we saw. It looks like it's like a
Um,
fucking bug man. Look at it. Look at those packs, dude. This guy's
yeah,
ripped.
no, so in another video, somebody walked up to it. This thing's got like a six pack right here.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, apparently knows how to eat right and work out, man. He's
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've looked into it. I've read little portions of that John Keel guy's book, and I just, I don't know. I don't know what to believe. I think that it's an interesting thing. I think but like I said, my theory on it is just we can't perceive certain things, so to quantify them and say it's this or it's that or you're just hallucinating is absurd because nobody's really, nobody knows. So,
right. Well, my
um,
my mom's had a ghost experience. She doesn't take drugs or anything, so she wouldn't lie. So, I don't
when
necessarily
people
pin
say
shit on
ghost,
that.
though, is it like because I get this feeling if I'm in the dark and I'm walking upstairs from the basement, or it's dark out and I have my back turned or something, like you can feel some sort of ominous
No, it's
feeling.
not
Or
that. It's like hearing fucking footsteps, and we'll get into this next time, bro.
okay,
We'll talk about the ghost of George.
okay, all right,
George.
all right. Well, that's another one in the books, folks.
Cha-ching.
We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Peace.